Hi, I'm Luca, and I'm going to be doing my evaluation for video production on my final film that we made. Mine was called Livre Rouge, which stands for Red Book. It's French. Um, so, okay, let's get started. What was your initial object for your film? I don't really get that question. Were you supposed to say what was your initial objective for your film? The objective was to meet a criteria set by Film 4, Remit, and but that's a later question. So let's go to the next question, which was clarify exactly what your contributions were in the production. So my contributions were editing, filming, directing, casting, and planning. Um, uh, so planning was like storyboarding, um, what kind of style it would be in, um, you know, that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, that's what I was mostly in charge of, but I didn't do all of that myself. Obviously, Greg also helped with filming, and so did Mia, and me and Greg mostly did all the editing, while Mia did uh, like audio, music soundtracking, and location research. That's what she did. We all chipped in for location research, but we ended up going with Mia's idea of where it should be. Um, Next question was did your film go to plan or did you have to adjust it in any way? Filming went all to plan. Everything went to plan. Went to all the storyboards. Everything went to all the shots went well. Um, the style of the film, we always imagined it went great. It went exactly how I imagined it. Um, but the only thing that we had to adjust was when the days we had to film. I think it was only once. We filmed within 3 weeks. The first Friday we filmed, we did half of the film, and we were scheduled to do the next day of filming the following Friday. But one of the cast members couldn't make it, as I think they had an audition or they had to go somewhere with their strand. So we arranged it the following Friday after the one that we couldn't do. So it was in a 3 week barrier um, where we filmed, and that was the only hiccup I think we had. Yeah, everything went to plan. The next question was, does your film meet the Channel 4/Film 4 remit? I think it does. I think remit. I think it does meet the remit because our film does show uh, experimental and creativity um, from most other films, and I don't really see why. I don't really see the reason why it shouldn't appeal and taste to the interests of culturally and diverse society, which was in the remit. Um, so yeah, I think our film did meet the film for remit, uh, and there aren't any reasons why or aspects of the film that didn't meet it that hadn't reached it. So I think yeah, we did our best to try and um, keep within what the remit was saying, while at the same time trying to make it our own. So yeah, the next question were you pleased with your overall piece? Um, After the whole process of making a film, I think the overall piece met its criteria of all standards, and I'm pleased to say that I was a part of making it. Nothing really went wrong, apart from that one schedule hiccup that one of the cast couldn't make. Everything was everything flowed. Um, Me and Greg, when editing, would always help one another, and Mia would always would do her own thing in the corner, and when she needed our input, she would come over to us and ask like, what soundtrack do you like better? Do you like this one? Do you like that one? And what she chose the fonts as well, um, and all that sort of stuff you don't really notice. That's what Mia was in charge of. Me and Greg were pretty much in charge of filming and editing, and that's what um, I would say I'm pleased with. That we all worked very well together. Um, Next question is, what challenges did you have to face? What do you think this was? While editing, making the book stay in colour was a very hard challenge and a very hard thing to try and accomplish. As the original way of me that I planned to make the book stay in colour didn't work, as the colour of the book was because normally when you try and color pick a certain color from a film, the color has to be a vibrant color that stands out and is very different to the colors that are surrounding the environment. But the color that we picked did work on some shots. The computer After Effects did see that the red of the book um, was different to the environment, but there were some shots where the sun made some of the leaves uh, look the same color as the book. So what I had to do was I had to rotoscope each individual frame, which was a pain, but I enjoy that kind of stuff. So it was all worth it in the end. The result came out really nice, and I think me and Greg did a really good job of rotoscoping the book in some of the shots. So I think that was the only real challenge we had. During filming, there weren't very many challenges we had to accomplish. We just had to film and let the actors do their own thing. I think the challenge that the actors had to do was try and be a good actor. We were pleased with all of the actors' work, and we don't think there were any challenges during filming. Only during editing there were challenges. My strengths, my individual strengths to the filmmaking, I'd say was mostly filming and editing, as this is the part that I mostly enjoy. Because Mia enjoyed mostly the background things like finding the music, finding the fonts, finding that kind of stuff, and I'm more upfront, enjoy actually making what people see, and I like being in charge of how it looks, and I like just being a part of the final outcome and saying that I did that, I made that, and that's probably were my strengths. I because I excel in stuff that I enjoy, and so I would say filming and editing was was my main strength. Next question is, how do you think your overall production went? The overall production went well, I think. Planning and getting sorted with the cast and crew was very professional. Everything went according to plan, apart from that scheduling hiccup. We filmed all okay. The filming went very well. And then after filming, so the first thing we had to start off was planning, and planning was when we did that in like a week, 2 weeks, and finding making storyboard, finding the cast, hiring out the cameras, finding location. We all did that within, I think it was 2 lessons or 3 lessons, and which that part of the production went really, really well. General filming, we all had a input into filming, so we all had to make one shot. I think we had to be in charge of one shot, so at least one shot. So we had some sort of input and that went really well. And then the pre-production editing side of things of the production um, went well as well. Nothing really to say of that. I haven't really said. So yeah, moving on. Um, how have you demonstrated your independence with the production? The second half of the film, which starts at where he walks out of the park and it fades out to where it fades back and he comes back and he sits on the bench and he waits for her. From that part all the way to the end, that was my editing. I did that all on my own with maybe one or two little pieces I needed help with from Greg. Um, and showing that my independence, that I took my time, I took the time out of my own time. So at home, as I had the software at home, I have After Effects at home. I got the footage, brought it home, and I think it took me an evening to do the whole second half of the film, and that was just rotoscoping the book and getting the color correction correct and making sure the composition was all correct and everything was in order in the right order. And yeah, I think that mainly shows my independence in the production. I took it into my own hands. Didn't have any help with what it looked like. Had to make all the decisions on my own. To whether does that color look right? Is that the right shot? Do you think I should edit that a bit? Should I crop that? I made all those decisions on my own, so I thought that was very independent of me. Next question is explain how you think you worked to a professional standard. As I said, with the cast and crew, we all had really good communications before. So when that hiccup came up, when we couldn't do that scheduling day, 5 minutes to find another day we could all do. It took, and that was really good. That was really fast, really easy, very professional. I think because if we faffed around with it too much, we would have just got our heads twisted and would have just been a bigger problem than it really was. But it wasn't even a problem. So that's how professional we think we were. Yeah, planning and making agreements to a professional standard. As I said, when we were planning, we didn't have any arguments. We didn't have. We had little disagreements, but then whoever was disagreeing with the original statement would professionally overcome what they were trying to make us agree with. But if, like, say, you lost, you didn't really lose. But if you say you lost, no one kicked up a fuss about it. They just went, okay, we'll just see how it goes, and if it's good, and if I think we all enjoyed it and thought it was a good decision, then we moved on, and I think that's very professional of us. Yeah, that's that question. The next question is explain how you worked to time constraints and schedule. Reflect on your pre-production material and was it effective enough to help you make your film? Taking the time outside of college, as I said before, helped us to give better and easier chance of completing the film on time. This was a big help, as if I didn't do this, if I didn't do the second half all on my own, at home at my own time, I don't think we would have finished in time, and I don't think we would have had long enough to hit the deadline. And I think we were 2 days. We finished 2 days before the deadline. I think so. I think that evening of a good few hours of editing on my own time was very important to the whole role of making the whole production of the film. And my partners, Greg and Mia, were all very grateful of, because they didn't ask me to do it. I just did it, and they were grateful of what I did, and they said to me, "Oh, thanks. You saved us a lot of time because they don't have the software at home, but I do. So I took it into my own hands and did it at home. So yeah, that's what saved us. Caught us with our time schedule. I think we were like a couple of days behind our schedule, but then we caught up because of the evening I spent editing. The next question is, how did you get your work? How did you get on working as a team? Have you learned anything from the experience? Well, during filming, we all had a good team effort towards the film, and we were all very happy with each other and the decisions we made, and we were all very positive during filming. During editing, me, Greg, and Mia all went on to help each other on the same project um, to get the best marks, and one person helping another person, and we're all working as a very good team. Me, Greg, and Mia. Um, but Brooke did her own thing. She did her own version of the film, and we didn't really have any input into that. So she didn't really have any input into ours, and we were fine with that. We asked her, "Are you sure you want to do this on your own? Because we're more than happy to help you." But she insisted that she would do her own edit, and we respected her decision. And we don't really know what if she's finished or if she's not. I think she has finished. I'm not sure, but yeah, we let her do her own thing, and we said to her, if you needed any help with anything, just come over and we would give you a few pointers. But we weren't going to actually go on her computer and edit it for her, as it wasn't our project. Yeah, overall, that whole process of teamwork, the skills I learned of fast decision making, to keep it to a time schedule, and these sort of things I think are going to help me in the future, and I'm very grateful that I learned these skills during this unit. Uh, Next question is, you should have exported uh, 3 different file formats and uploaded them to your blog. Explain why you selected each of the formats according to the purpose. Again, I don't really get this question. The reason I selected 3 different formats was because it said so on the brief, and Greg and Mia, we sat down and we had to choose the formats in the first place, and we just went for .mov, H.264, and AVI was the other one. And the reason we did that was because they were low, didn't take enough, they were low size and took up an awful lot of space. Fast to render, there wasn't a problem to render. I think it took about 10-15 minutes to render each file format. And yeah, that was why we chose. It said so on the brief. I don't really get that question. And the last question, which we've already talked about, it's just a repeat of another question I just said, was overall, were you pleased with your film? And I said that up there before. Yeah, I am pleased with the overall production and overall film. I think it went all well, and it looks really good. I think better than I thought. Just a few things that I wish I knew, but they were not tiny little things, like just editing wise. But apart from that, yeah, I'm really, really pleased. And yeah, that is my evaluation of my film. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I get a good mark. And yeah, that's me. So